Hey YouTube, Alan back with a package and pickups video, or rather just one package that came in through the post a while back, and eagle-eyed viewers may have seen it sitting on the reduced Game Throne for probably a couple of months now. I don't know why I haven't spoke about this, because it's a new system and I had intended to. It's a system that I've always found quite interesting. Not one that, I was like, I gotta have it. It's one of the top tier systems. It's got a massive library of great games. It's the go-to retro systems. Not at all. It's one of those that I think is an interesting history. Certainly, there's a legacy predating it, and it kind of epitomizes engineering, utilization of technology and or of old technology, I should say, and I guess it's kind of like the ultimate evolution of a certain design. But basically, a while back, I seen some eBay auctions for them going up, and they were kind of going regularly. And the one that I knew there was one set of it I wanted, just because it was a nice collector's piece as well as much as a practical piece, and the price is very, very reasonable on these. It still are, it seems, and I can understand why. It's a Japanese system, and a lot of the games aren't as accessible as say the Japanese Saturn. There's a certain language barrier you're going to run into, and the library of games isn't as big, or isn't as fleshed out, or isn't even as, say, arcade centric, so you can kind of get an understanding of the game. That's not to say there aren't good games on it, but it wasn't, that's not the way it was targeted. Well, anyway, enough waffling. May as well show you what I'm talking about. So the system in question is the WonderSwan, and the pack in question is the Gunpei bundle. So this is the original black and white WonderSwan. Of course, they ended up releasing Pocket, Color, and then Crystal. I'm mixing it up with a Neo Geo there. So on the back we have some screenshots of the game, I think it is. Yeah, so there's the handheld playing the game, and then the game itself. So of course, the Color one is better, the Crystal one is the best. But I want this as a collector's item, if nothing else, because it was the Gunpei bundle. And for those that do not know, the WonderSwan is the final device that Gunpei Yokoi worked on before he passed away. So let's slip it out. And this was all, it's all brand new. There was a few marks on the box, so you can see kind of chipping up there at the corner, just there, a bit of fraying basically. But other than that, everything was untouched, unopened. And I think this cost me about 35 euros, including shipping, something around that, so not expensive at all. And there's the internals. So you have the game on one side, the system, and then the one battery, because this works on one battery. And that's kind of where you can kind of start to see how it's the evolution of a technology line. To me, this is the final evolution of the original Game Boy line. Not that it's like a Game Boy at all. In terms of, well, it doesn't use Game Boy cartridges. It doesn't. It's not a Game Boy. Put it that way. Although interesting, yeah. Though while they have here, they have the WonderSwan manual. They have a little PlayStation best of hits on the back. So basically, Gunpei for the PlayStation 1, and then some other Bandai, basically PlayStation games. And then, this is the instruction manual. And funnily enough, I had to actually read the manual. Well, I say read it. I had to look at the pictures because it's all in Japanese. But you can get the idea. And Japanese love these teeny little, really tightly formed manuals and whatnot. If you look at Famicom stuff, it's the same. Everything's neatly and tidily, small little packaging. It's very different to in the West. It tends to be, how big can we make it? You look at a PC game from back in the era, it's like, what's the biggest box you can find? I'll put it in that. So yeah, I actually had to use it to get the battery cover off. So I had to look at the manual for that. So actually, while we're doing it, this is So this is a game software little brochure, and there are good games in it, but like a lot of them would have a lot of Japanese in it too. There's Mega Man games, there's Final Fantasy games, and well, there's Pocket Fighter. I can recognize that. I can read that. It's in English. And Clock Tower. It's a pity that Clock Tower wasn't translated, because that one would be quite interesting. But that's very text heavy, so probably no go on that one. Puzzle Bobble. So yeah, there's definitely games, and I should stop looking at that and look at the camera. So the system itself. There we go. Well, peel it back. Here's the game pops out. Like a lot of Japanese packaging, the game. You know, tiny little cardboard box, cartridge and manual. As I said, this was all brand new, and let's see. Go. Try not to damage stuff while I'm taking it out. Worst thing about cardboard, breaks so very easily. Oh, of course, I was taking this out to show you the cartridge, but the cartridge is not here. This cartridge is in the system. So it comes with a little kind of protector sleeve, and it would have had a cartridge in it too. And behind that you get the manual and warranty card. So that's what the inside of a WonderSwan box contains. So back you go to the system itself and the unused battery. So pop this baby out, and I do not have that on. Now I'm not going to turn this on because probably won't come out because of the black and white screen, and the battery is unused. I did have another battery I was using for it, but that's not with me. I did not pre-plan. May as well leave the battery there. So there's the system itself, and as you see at the back we have Gunpei in the game. Now of course, as I was saying, and kind of keep getting sidetracked, there's the cartridge. You see that actually unusually the kind of connectors are exposed. They're kind of like Game Boy Advance style cartridge with exposed connectors. I would put them in that kind of region. Most of the back is taken up by the cartridge slot, and what isn't is taken up by this battery bulb here. And I can't remember now how you release it. There's a little latch you gotta press and push. It's like I probably have to read the manual. Oh, there you go. So there you go. There's a little cartridge bay or battery bay, which is in some ways this is a nice little feature. If your contacts become corroded, you could in theory replace this without having to replace the whole unit. Now, of course, being these are Japanese systems, it's probably easier to replace the whole unit these days. And just pop it back in when you've got a battery on. And it comes with odd arrangement of buttons, and at the side it has a link cable. Or actually, that's basically an expansion cable. Link cable it's also used for the headphone adapter, just like a Game Boy Advance SP, and that's probably my biggest gripe about this version of the system. Yeah, I don't like systems that don't have headphone cables, or that don't have standard headphone jacks. You got the power button on this side, on off, and then the rest is just the face. So it's got a black and white screen. There was later colour and crystal models that have better screens, but for a black and white handheld, it's actually very clear, way clearer than the Game Boys. And going way back to that story that I failed to tell twice, it definitely feels like the evolution of that black and white Game Boy line. You had that Game Boy, big, bulky, but ran forever on, 4 batteries. Then you had the Pocket, slimmer, smaller, crisper, better screen, ran forever on less batteries. And then you had the WonderSwan, smaller, lighter, ran good battery life on a single battery. It's Gunpei Yokoi had this idea of he called it lateral thinking with wither technology, something along those lines. And that basically, if you have old technology, it's cheap. However, you have to do something. If you're going to use old technology, you have to do something different, or step outside the box, or use it in a different way to kind of engage an audience and to make it practical again. And if you do so, you can sell a product that is at a low price point, like the original Game Boy. That's how you can have like a sub $100 price point when you had Game Boys coming out and Lynx is with better processors, color screens, backlit, and so on. But they were much more expensive and they consumed battery life. That was not his philosophy at all. He wanted to use cheaper, readily available components that could be marketed and sold at a much lower rate. But you had to do something to step outside. And in some cases, for portability, it was making sure that you had a good battery life, because it's a portable. You can't be changing batteries all the time. And in this case, one thing they also changed was these buttons. So this operates in two modes. You've got horizontal and vertical modes, and then the button orientation allows you to use these two with these. So if you're using it kind of like that, or you flip it over like that, and you're using the kind of groups of four, which is quite clever. And it kind of took an idea from the Lynx and put it in. This is an incredibly light system. Even with the battery in, it's very light, just over 100 grams I think it is, and the battery runs for quite a while. So I love the blue color as well. As I said, this is my favorite bundle because it's Gunpei Yokai's last handheld, his last thing that he done, obviously outside of Nintendo. And it came with the name, the puzzle game. It's a good puzzle game too, named after him. So it feels kind of like an honorary set, and I love the blue color. So I was very pleased to pick this up. Oh yeah, it's also got set sound and star buttons. Sound has got this one speaker up here, or you can plug in headphones. The volume control through the sound button is a bit, you can either turn it off or kind of a few levels, and the levels are kind of like really a little too quiet and a little too loud, but that's a shame. If again you could solve that with headphones, but yeah, damn these ports. Obviously Nintendo said that and went, oh yeah, we can use that. But anyway, it's a lovely system. It's a collector's item to me. I'm not going to play it a hell of a lot, and I know that, but at the same stage I will try and root out a few games for it, the ones that are a bit more English friendly, which is not Everton, unfortunately. And it's, even though it never made it out properly into the West, there are a few games I believe that got Chinese English releases. Not many, and they're probably hard to find, but I do believe there are a few. It was something that was considered for wider distribution and just never got there. Even on the front they go, Bandai, check it out. Well, I did, and so here it is. And it's not for sale. Well, apparently it was for sale because it was in the box of something that they were selling. Odd. Anyway, that's the WonderSwan. I hope you enjoyed, because I kind of waffled a bit more than I intended for one item. But with a new system, you tend to. If I get more games, I may at some point try and do some form of kind of showing the system. But it's hard to because of the black and white screen. We'll see. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back with another video soon. Bye for now.